in addition to importing example sentences that are in Japanese, I also need to have translated versions of those sentences that I can compare people's answers to. So if I ask somebody, or if I read a sentence to them, in order to test their comprehension, I have to be able to compare their response to a known correct answer. And there's many correct answers for the way that a given sentence can be translated, but just to populate the database, just to have something to get started, I wanted to use automated translation. Well, thankfully, Amazon has a Translate API that we can leverage. We talked earlier about maybe using Polly for text-to-speech, for Japanese text-to-speech. But before we even get there, I'm going to use the AWS Translation API to translate these sentences automatically, just so that we have an example. In order to do that programmatically for the 200 example sentences that we've already imported, I have the AWS Ruby gem, and I've not used this before, so it took me a little bit to find the right documentation, and documentation that was actually helpful. This is not the, I don't find any of Amazon stuff to be particularly user-friendly to get started, but we have a example here. Now, this Ruby gem will use the API keys that I've already got configured in my environment. So I'll leave that as an exercise to the watcher to figure out. If I show you, you have to have these, like I have these set up in my environment, and I just don't want them recorded on a video that's going out to the internet. So go ahead, get these configured with your AWS API keys. But then once you have that, we should be able to use the AWS Translate client. And so let's try to do that. I've installed the gem. Apparently. I think I have. Yeah. So we'll open a Rails console. I'm not really sure why that wouldn't work. Let's see here. I have no idea why this is taking so long to run. So apparently I need to specify a region. What would be great is, yep, if they gave me an example. All right, so I got a client. I've set the region, and that's just the region for like the web services, nothing to do with the region of languages or anything like that. All right, so client dot, let's see how this works. Translate text. And it's, wow, actually, okay, this is more user-friendly than, all right, so say hello. And then we'll do source language, en, source language code, and then target language code. Oh, that's pretty special. So for whatever reason, my Amazon permissions are not set to allow me to perform translate text. So I guess I have to go debug that in my AWS console. Let me do that off screen. In fact, I'll stop the video recording, and then when I figure out what's going on, I'll come back on the video.